The last 2D Zelda game was Echoes of Wisdom, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't really care for it. A lot of people did, and that's cool, but it just wasn't giving me the experience I wanted from a 2D Zelda game. I want to sit and stare at a puzzle in a dungeon and figure out what I can do with my limited number of tools available to solve it, not be able to create one of hundreds of items from thin air. Echoes of Wisdom followed the Minecraft trend, just like Tears of the Kingdom, and gave the player a bunch of building blocks to let them make their own solutions to problems. And that's great, but I'm not into Minecraft. And the combat in that game also felt lackluster to me. Too often the solution was to spawn in an enemy and it's like, cool watching this knight go and fight for me, but could I not just fight for myself? This is the first time we get to play as Zelda in a mainline Zelda game, and I wanted that for the longest time. But why couldn't they give her a sword? Or, at the very least, a hockey stick? This is Under the Island, and here is my review as a long time Zelda fan. My first Zelda game was the first Zelda game, and I've got a few thoughts on this new indie take on the formula. Hi, I'm Bill, and I'm on the retro sofa reviewing an actual new video game? What's going on? The last original 2D Zelda game I fell in love with was 2013's A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. Seriously, it's been 15 years since we got a 2D Zelda game that stuck to the traditional formula, and Johannes Grunewald of Slime King Games spent 7 of those years toiling away to fill that deep void in my soul by developing this action RPG. And it's lovely, and it's my birthday.
Vielen Dank für das tolle Geschenk.
Because although I'm all about retro games, I'm also happy to shout out a European developer giving my nostalgia cortex a bloody good tickle with their new IP. So let's just check out this press release real quick. Do you remember waking up early on Saturday mornings as a kid just to play video games? Do you love the feeling of diving into unknown worlds where a new adventure's waiting for you behind every bush, cave and ravine? Yeah, of course you do. Scratch those itches as you embark in an epic adventure in Under the Island. They know exactly what they're doing to me, and damn it, I'm going to let them. If this channel's about anything, it's about nostalgia, and that's what this game is. Pure nostalgia and good vibes all the way. And that's why this is the first ever review of a new game on this channel. You play as Nia, a hockey stick wielding hero who's moved to Seashell Island only to find it's doomed, and she takes it upon herself to do what any of us would do when we accidentally move somewhere that's doomed, which is to undoom it post-haste by solving cryptic puzzles, beating up the bad guys, and collecting ancient long-lost relics from around the island. This is why I'm going to be saying Zelda a lot. It's absolutely paying homage to that classic formula, but it's keeping it fresh too, and that's how these types of games work best in my opinion. The aforementioned A Link Between Worlds is a prime example. Formulaic Zelda, but with the wall melding mechanic to bring something new and exciting to the formula. And here it's the animals. That's right, not only can you pet the dogs, not only can you pet the cats, but you are mechanically rewarded in-game for doing so. There's an early game puzzle where you have to reunite a cat with its kittens, and that's a nice little teaser for how the rest of the game's going to go. Because as well as your usual tools like your upgradable slashing weapon and bombs and pretty much exactly the fire rod, but it's a plant now, Nia also carries around a box of treats which she can use to lure animals to where she needs them to be. This works just like in real life. Watch this.
Okay, Beetle, high five. Yeah, Beetle did it.
Yeah! For every new subscriber this video gets, I will give these cats another treat. And don't forget the like button because that's a scritch on the head. The treats mechanic is used throughout the game to solve puzzles like getting a turtle to move out of your way or getting a cow to sit on a button. There are these cool pinball bits where you whack a treat with your hockey stick and bounce it into position. There's even a boss you have to fight using treats, and I don't know how much I want to spoil that one because it's really cool, but okay, here's a little clip. The bosses generally are outstanding in this game. There are always multiple phases that play out differently, and some of them are really original. Some of them aren't traditional boss fights at all, like this first one that mixes timing puzzles with tower defense. Really cool stuff. They all do the traditional thing of utilising whatever tools you just picked up in that dungeon, but that's no bad thing. The game does a great job of introducing a new mechanic, letting you practice with it, then using the boss as a final test for the new skills you've just mastered. It's a classic formula for a reason, and it's done incredibly well here. I love the look of the bosses as well. In fact, graphically the whole thing is beautifully drawn by Simona Grunewald, formerly art director for Deponia, which was a similarly gorgeous point-and-click adventure I actually played back in the day when I first started learning German. Not one of my favourite games, but graphically it was stunning, and so's Under the Island, with some of my favourite enemy and character design I've seen in any game recently. Look at this bear! How chill is he? And the 2D pixel art manages a few moments of wonder, like when you first reach this mountain peak and look over the island where you started the game. It's the same trick A Link to the Past pulled in the 90s, and it's fantastic here too. The music is good. It's not up there with Koji Kondo's greatest hits, but there are some bangers in here, and when it's not banging, it's setting the mood nicely. The game has a pretty fast day-night cycle, and it feels lovely every time the music fades back in to tell you the sun's risen. Overall, very pleasant and very fitting. I'm playing the PC version here, and I did experience a few crashes and once went out of bounds by accident, not sure what happened there. These are pretty small bugs though, and won't detract from the experience if you save often enough, and I'm sure they'll be patched out pretty soon anyway. The puzzle design throughout is excellent. There are your standard block pushing and switch clicking puzzles, and they're well designed and scale up in difficulty, but you've also got unique puzzles like this Minesweeper alike. I would have liked more of these though. While the puzzle design is immaculate, it mostly plays it pretty safe, sticking to the tried and true tropes of the genre. And I suppose then, the question is, does this game stick too closely to the Zelda formula? Well, you've got multiple dungeons, each with items in them that you collect and use to solve puzzles in the dungeon and to beat the boss. These items can then be used in the overworld to find new areas or to go back and solve puzzles in areas you've already visited. You engage enemies by swinging a stick at them or using various ranged weapons you find as you go, which have varying effectiveness. There's bombing cracks in walls, there's following invisible paths, and you've even got the basically now mandatory stealth segments. Find 4 heart coins hidden throughout the world and you get an extra heart. I really struggle to think of a Zelda beat that this game doesn't hit with complete enthusiasm and reckless abandon. I opened this review by saying that Echoes of Wisdom doesn't stick closely enough to the original Zelda formula. So can I really criticise this game for doing the opposite? Well, not really, but it does put the game into dangerous territory. Because the vast majority of you watching this video, at least according to my YouTube statistics, are not immortal. And there are so many games you have to fit alongside this nonsense we call real life. And if this game is, to all intents and purposes, a new Zelda game, then the question to answer isn't simply whether it's good, but if it's worth playing over and above other Zelda games. And I kind of think, yeah, which is a remarkable achievement. I wouldn't rate it quite as highly as classics like A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening, but for me it sits comfortably alongside the Minish Cap. And as much as I loved both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks back in the day, I'd be comfortable recommending Under the Island above either of Link's DS outings. It's a properly good game. But whether you'll enjoy it depends a little bit on what you want out of this type of game. While the puzzle design holds up against the best Nintendo has ever put out, the combat doesn't quite. It's good, but it's not as fluid, satisfying, or as engaging as classic Zelda. Story-wise, I'm not quite as enthralled by Seashell Island as I was with Koholint Island in Link's Awakening, but it's probably better than most other Zelda storylines with some great characters and a sense of humour too. German developers beating the stereotypes. The game's also got mini-games, and each one is a joy to experience the first time, but none of them really drew me back for repeated attempts to try and get the heart coin. My favourite is this cooking minigame that makes up a big part of one of the dungeons where you have to do different little button mashing style minigames to wash lettuce or chop a sausage or mix ingredients. But after I'd done well enough to progress the story forwards, I only went back and tried it once more, and they're all like that. They're great once, but I personally am not going to go back to try and do them all perfectly. Kids would, probably, and I reckon this is a great action RPG for younger players. That doesn't mean it's easy though. The difficulty is actually spot on for more experienced gamers like me, with a perfectly engineered difficulty curve. But I'd have loved this game in my early teens when I had the time and persistence to try and get better at all these mini games and really sink myself into an experience like this. Now at age 42, on the day this video comes out, my standards aren't the same, but I still really enjoyed Under the Island as a whole, going from dungeon to dungeon, solving the puzzles, enjoying the minigames once or twice, figuring out the combat, and immersing myself in a lovely story with heaps of nostalgia on top. I also love that the game doesn't overstay its welcome. You'll beat the main story in 10 or so hours if that's all you want to do, and there are plenty of side quests to extend your playtime by a few hours, and if you've got the time to put into it, then you can go master those minigames. This is a game that respects your time, with no filler. If the bits of Zelda you love the most are the puzzles and the story, then this could turn out to be your new favourite Zelda game, at least for the short time you spend with it. If you're new to my channel, then welcome! There's a bunch of videos around here about classic Nintendo games and a few other bits as well. And if you're checking out reviews for Under the Island, then maybe you're into that sort of thing, so please do stick around. Many thanks as well to Top Hat Studios for providing the Steam code for Under the Island for review. They haven't had any input on this video whatsoever and didn't get to see it in advance, and neither did anybody else. All the opinions expressed in this video are my own. Thanks also to my channel supporters Liam, Sir Musty, Sonic Gamer, Soul in Sadness, Thankmar, Ultramuffin, and Visual Novel Archive. Apologies you didn't get to see this video early like you do with the others, but reviews got to go out on release day. Normal service will be resumed. Support the channel too if you want, and if you're still here at this point in the video, I reckon you might be the kind of person who might want to do that. Deets in the description, there's Patreon, there's YouTube memberships. And thanks to all of you for once again joining me on the Retro Sofa. It's good to be back.